facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy was lethal when King became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in a dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win a war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of my Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day.
No progressive community can remain part literate and part illiterate. Ignorance is a menace to any people and should not be tolerated. Some have said it would cost the community too much money to educate all our children. I reply to that statement. We wish to say that education will never cost this community or any other community what ignorance will if the latter is permitted to prevail. Let's all join hands in helping to make this county one of the best counties, not only in the state of Maryland, but in the entire United States, by giving our children the best education obtainable.
Glory. When we get there, we'll cry. 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 Hand in hand, we stand as one and cry. Hand in hand, we stand as one and cry. We'll cry glory, oh glory.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 4th annual Langston Hughes Youth Oratorical Contest presented by the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center, Incorporated. This annual event celebrates Havre de Grace's historic connections to Langston Hughes and honors the legacy of community members who have advocated for equitable access to education for African American students in Harford County. This year, we are excited to present this fantastic scholarship event virtually with the assistance of David Ryan of Pro Video Promos. David, thank you so much for all of your hard work and support to help us continue this tradition in a safe and accessible format. We'd also like to begin by recognizing the support we receive by our esteemed community members, including Harford County Executive, the Honorable Barry Glassman, State Senator Bob Cassilly, the Honorable Patrick Vincenti, President of the County Council, the Honorable Curtis L. Beulah, Councilman of Harford County, and William Martin, Mayor of Havre de Grace. We'd also like to thank our trainers, Mr. Emil Cromwell and Peter Bird, and this year's judges, Mr. Herman Veal, Mr. Richard Simpson, and Miss Elizabeth Nemeth. As we prepare for this inspirational afternoon, I'm honored to introduce Miss Lenora Robinson, a community resource liaison with the Harford County government and a member of the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center Board. Lenora will bless us with an opening prayer.
Let us bow our heads for prayer. Father, we give you praise and thanks as we begin our 4th annual Langston Hughes Oratorical Contest virtually. Our environment has changed and we have changed within this environment. Father, bless our participants today who you have allowed us to share their God-given talents and abilities in speech. May they continue to strive to be the best by using their talents. But their greatest gift of all is love for self and one another. This we ask and pray in Jesus' name, amen.
We'll cry glory, we'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson, for lifting our hearts and minds in prayer. In honor of Black History Month, we are excited to be joined by the Harford County Executive, the Honorable Barry Glassman.
Hi, this is County Executive Barry Glassman. I'm sorry I can't be with you personally this year for the 4th annual Langston Hughes Oratorical Contest. I can't wait till next year when we get together again to celebrate our young people in Black History Month. I want to congratulate all of the folks who participate today and thank the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center for all the work they do to lift up our young people, lift up our history in Harford County, particularly in the African American community, as we celebrate our diversity and all the things that we have in common. So good luck to everyone today. Enjoy my Black History Month video that we worked on to celebrate our Supreme Court victory for the Gravel Hill community and St. James AMD Church. So God bless you, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Executive Glassman, for those words and for your dedicated support of the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center. The Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center celebrates the rich and diverse history of the African American community in Harford County and right here in our own backyards of Havre de Grace. We are so thankful for the continued support of our community and the city of Havre de Grace. And today I'm pleased to welcome the Mayor of Havre de Grace, Bill Martin.
Hello, everyone. This is Mayor William T. Martin of the City of Havre de Grace. I want to welcome everybody to this year's Langston Hughes Oratorical Contest. The Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center remembers, promotes, and preserves the history and legacy of the Havre de Grace Colored School and those that advocate for equitable access to education for students in Harford County. The original school building was built in 1910 and only served students in grades 1 through 8. Students who sought high school education had to travel outside of Harford County to continue their learning. The high school was established in 1930, and the first class of high school students graduated in 1932. Now, in 1953, the Havre de Grace Consolidated School was built and it served students in grades 1 through 12. That is until Harford County public schools were fully integrated in 1965. The annual Langston Hughes Youth Oratorical Contest celebrates the historic color school and its rich connections to poet and playwright Langston Hughes, who was a friend and Omega Psi Phi fraternity brother of the color school principal Leon Roy. The 2021 theme is What Happens to a Dream Deferred, and is inspired by the work, of course, of Langston Hughes. To honor and celebrate Black History Month, we are excited to highlight the achievements and dreams of students across Harford County. Thank you very much for the opportunity to wish everybody good luck. We'll see you soon.
This annual contest is named in honor of poet, novelist, and playwright Langston Hughes. Hughes was a central figure in the Harlem Renaissance. Each year, the contest theme is inspired by the words of Langston Hughes, and today we are excited to be joined by our featured poet, Ben Samuel, who will recite What Happens to a Dream Deferred. Ben Samuel is an 11-year-old fifth grade student at Buckland Mills Elementary School. He is an honor roll student in the gifted program and is also bilingual. As a musician and a performer, he has participated in youth choir, oratorical contests, and narrated 2 plays. He placed 3rd in the contest for the Community College Robotics STEM Program Summer Camp of 2019, and he holds a certificate in coding. He's also an inspiring artist and is currently taking animation classes.
Harlem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Langston Hughes.
Thank you, Ben. Next, I'd like to introduce the president of the Havre de Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center, Miss Patricia Cole, who will give the occasion. Miss Cole is a retired Army colonel, and among her many awards, she is a member of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a lifetime member of the NAACP, and a Community Service Award recipient. She is also a board member for the historic Hosanna School Museum and a lifetime member of the Morgan State University. In 2019, she received the Allen Hillard Legum Humanitarian Award and was recognized as Citizen of the Year by the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Iota Nu chapter. In 2020, she received the prestigious Spirit of Service Award by the Honorable Mark Esper, the former Secretary of Defense.
Greetings, I'm Patricia Cole, President of the Happy Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center. I would like to welcome you to the occasion of the 4th Annual Langston Hughes Youth Oratorical Contest. I want to start by first thanking the community for its steadfast support and encouragement. I would like to give a special thanks to our board, especially Brittany Powell, our event coordinator and the host of today's event, for making the event special each year. I would also like to give a heartfelt thanks to our county executive, the Honorable Barry Glassman. We owe him a debt of gratitude for his steadfast support and commitment as we inch closer to our goal of establishing a world-class museum and cultural center. We are extremely proud of our efforts to maintain the history of the Happy Grace Colored School, which got its start in 1910 when it first served as one of 14 grammar schools for African American children, to 1930 when it became the first public high school for African American students in Harford County, and now as a museum and cultural center. We stand on the shoulders of those who sacrificed much to pave the way for us to be here today. History, however, is more than the past. It's also about the living history we create every year with this contest. All of us, especially the parents and teachers, can take great pride in these contestants and their hard work. We look forward to hearing the uplifting messages of these young orators as they showcase their extraordinary talents. We highlight Langston Hughes because he was a frequent visitor to the Happy Grace Colored School. During that time, there was unrest in our nation, and many African Americans had their dreams deferred. Here is a video about Langston Hughes, his ties to the Happy Grace Colored School, and the challenges African Americans face during these tumultuous times. Again, on behalf of the Happy Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center, we welcome you to this amazing program. Please sit back and enjoy today's events. Thank you.
James Mercer Langston Hughes was an African-American poet, novelist, and playwright born February 1st, 1902 in Joplin, Missouri. He was one of the earliest inventors of the literary art form called jazz poetry. In the 1950s, Langston Hughes graced the hallways of Haverty Grace Colored School, which holds a special distinction as the first public high school for African-American children in Hartford County, Maryland. Langston was a frequent visitor to the school by invitation of the school's principal, Mr. Leon S. Roy.
Mr. Leon S. Roy was our principal. He used to always tell us that he said, I'm going to bring Langston here, But we didn't find out till later that he attended Lincoln University with Langston Hughes. And they were roommates at one time, and also fraternity brothers, the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
I probably was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and at the time we used the basement where the library was, and as children we would sit out in the well outside, and we would look down there and listen to what they would open the windows, and we could hear what was going on. I tell you, he was probably one of the most handsome men you've ever seen.
But he was so gentle, so kind, Mr. Langston Hughes. It was later that we learned how important a man he really was. And I'm so thankful that we had that opportunity.
During tumultuous times in American history, many African Americans had their dreams deferred. In his poems, he often shares the importance of having dreams. In his words, without dreams, our lives do not feel complete. We do not have anything to work toward, so holding on to dreams strengthens and empowers us. We pay tribute to Langston Hughes, who through his extraordinary gift was able to inspire and uplift us as a people. His words of wisdom continue to guide us as we reflect on the many blessings we share as proud Americans. Now, We honor the legacy of many men and women who advocated for the first public high school for African American children in Hartford County, Maryland. Through parental prayers and petitions, we applaud their efforts to give African American children a better chance at life. As we stand on the shoulders of these giants, we look to future generations to motivate and inspire our better angels. That is the cornerstone of the value we as a community still hold sacred. So let us stand together as a beacon of solidarity and commitment to keeping our community strong and to carry on the legacy of those who came before us and inspire us to dream.
Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Every day women and men become legends. Since they go against our skin, become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is just a position in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. Once I die, the spirit is revisiting us. Truly living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down and we stand up. Shots be on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we'll cry glory, we'll cry glory, when we get there we'll cry glory, oh glory. Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. When it's all done, we'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory. Ooh, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. We'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory. Oh,
Will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
To become a hero, facing the League of Justice, his power was the people, enemy was sleep.
This annual contest provides scholarships to Hartford County residents, and no grant, government, or donor funds are used to support this program. And for the fourth year, our scholarships are generously furnished by an anonymous donor. This year, we will present our middle school student awards in honor of Mr. Wardell Stansbury, Haverty Grace Colored High School, class of 1953, and our high school student awards in honor of Mr. Ted Hoke, Haverty Grace Colored High School, class of 1940. Mr. Hoke and Mr. Stansbury were both proud graduates of the Haverty Grace Colored School and respected pillars of the community. We are pleased to present the middle and high school scholarship awards today in honor of these men whose legacy continues in the words and deeds of future generations. One note before we start our competition, everyone should be assured that any internet technical glitches or video or sound issues will not affect the judging. We've all been living in the age of Zoom, so we know these technical gremlins can occur. With that said, let's proceed with the contest. I'm excited to begin our middle school competition by introducing Lillian Moss. Lillian is an 11-year-old sixth grader at Roland Park Country School who enjoys dancing, singing, acting, and performing. She's 2 belts away from her current goal of achieving her black belt in American Taekwondo Academy, and she has won first place in sparring as well as in form in recent tournaments. She enjoys cooking, watching movies, and playing board games with her family. Currently, she is a cadet in Girl Scouts and plans on using her analytical talents to become a CIA agent after college. Even though her favorite subject in school is English, she enjoys French a lot and would like to travel. Her hobbies include horseback riding, constructing roadblocks, sewing, and hanging out with friends. In her spare time, she loves having fun with and training her puppy Coco, playing the piano, and rehearsing for the role of Flounder in her school's upcoming virtual play, The Little Mermaid Jr. Lillian has an older brother and many cool friends at her new school.
The title of my speech is The Future of a Dream Deferred. Deferred, postponed or delayed. Dream, to see or imagine. There are always going to be obstacles in life that you don't know how to overcome, but you cannot let them stop you. You must stay strong and continue to work hard. A dream deferred is like a fork on the road of life to me. It can pop your tire and slow you down. Accidents will happen, but it's your choice to keep moving on. What happens to your dream when it's deferred? That's up to you. You can either give up or persevere. I would choose to persevere because I'm not a quitter. A dream of mine was to move up to the advanced level in gymnastics and learn how to do a front and back handspring. That dream was deferred by the instructors. I stayed for 2 or 3 seasons hoping they would teach me how to do a front and back handspring. Instead, they continued to teach me things that I already knew how to do. That made me upset because teaching me skills that I was already taught prevented me from making progress. At one point, I asked one of the instructors why I hadn't been taught how to do a front and back handspring. She replied saying that I had to learn to keep my arms straight. So I started focusing more on that, hoping she'd notice. I don't know if she ever did, but I still wasn't taught how to do a front and back handspring. Whenever you feel as if you're working hard at a goal, but you're not making any progress, you should approach it differently. If you approach it differently, you will have another chance at succeeding. I have not reached my gymnastics goal yet, even though I approached it differently, but I will continue to work at it. When the instructor told me that I had to learn to keep my arms straight, it was like missing an ingredient while trying to bake a cake. No flour equals no cake. No straight arms equals no back and front handspring. My whole life, I've been the type of person who never backs down from a challenge. And I still don't. Never be afraid to face the obstacles that are getting in the way of your dreams and goals. You should always do your best and conquer your fears. No matter how big or small that obstacle is, you can get past it. After the COVID-19 pandemic has settled, I will continue gymnastics at a different gymnasium where they will focus on me individually. In conclusion, a dream deferred is a constant reminder of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian, for your inspirational words and energy. Next up, I'd like to introduce Kayla Reynolds, a 7th grade student at Magnolia Middle School, where her favorite subject is language arts. Her hobbies include roller skating, decorating, and writing, and her future goal is to become an entrepreneur.
What happens to a dream deferred? What really happens when we forget about an unaccomplished dream? When we defer a dream, are we hurting the internal and external part of ourselves? Is the pain we feel an emotional or physical feeling? Do we try to continue the dream, or do we just leave the pieces and move on? Do we ignore the dream because we think we cannot live up to something so big, something so beyond us, something so extravagant? Us as people, we must strive for something we want. We must push ourselves to the limits and be determined for the things we cannot automatically get in life. People let themselves down because they feel like they cannot do something they are passionate about. At the end of the day, you must count on yourself to be straightforward and dedicated. You must remember that your dream is yours, not somebody else's. You have one life. Are you going to succeed in life, or are you going to fail? The way you plan your life is between you and your mind. When we delay dreams of ours, we are delaying a part of our imagination, and we are also delaying a part of our self-esteem. If we made a lake out of all the dreams we have deferred in life, some people will be drowning in their own lakes because they have deferred so many dreams of theirs. Everybody at some point has felt the urge to give up. Everybody at some point has laid down their backs, has stomped their feet, has shaken in fear, has screamed and hollered from the top of their lungs till their voice is cracking. All this stems from the urge to give up. There is obstacles put in our path to help us beat our main obstacles and urges, which is our urge to give up. Our main instinct is to give up, to run, to hide, to scour in fear. But the thing we do not know, the information our brain will let us retain, the information we keep constantly running from, is we are running from ourselves. We are running from the glory of what we can be as people. When we don't pursue our dreams, it feels like we are carrying a weight on our back while we drag shackles and chains upon our wrists, while we are being nailed down by our misery and guilt of not being able, not wanting to accomplish your dreams. Some people might say they tried to accomplish their dreams, but it never came true. You must look back at that sentence and ask yourself, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it is the words never came true as a part of that fairy tale. You must ask yourself, did you put your passion before your urge? Did you look at yourself in the mirror saying you are not a failure and you are not abandon yourself? If you did not do these things, you are just like the rest of the world, giving up and taking advantage of the urge to discontinue your dreams. When we feed into the urge to pry ourselves away from our dreams, are we prying the part of ourselves that wants to be successful? Are we prying the part of ourselves that wants to make our dreams, our ambitions in life come to reality? When we defer a dream, are we slowly withering away into a long path of regret that consumes our mind and our body slowly? Or are we being held captive by ourselves and feeling guilty? Are we ashamed that we denied our dreams? Are we disappointed in ourselves that we look past our dreams and see them only as a fantasy? A broken dream without repair and left at the bottom of our mind with piles of old dreams, goals, and ambitions stacked on top of another. So take that time to build your dream so you have successfully conquered it and living the life that you dreamed of. Don't let your pride or your stubbornness or your actions affect your dream, because you are the only person standing in the way of your dream. So take the extra mile, take the extra paycheck, take the extra lecture to build your dream until you have successfully conquered it and living the life that you dreamt of. So let this be known to all people that anything is possible, and you will be the person that makes your dream come true.
Thank you, Kayla. Our final middle school contestant is Johanna Stevens. Johanna is an 8th grade student at Rosedale Baptist School, where her favorite subjects are science and art. Her hobbies include playing the piano and singing, as well as dancing, writing, and coding. Her future goal is to attend Temple University and dual major in chemistry and art, or obtain a dual degree in chemistry with a focus on lab research and forensics.
I'd like to start off with a small poem I've created in inspiration of Langston Hughes' poem that he does on the dream deferred. If your passion is strong and you want your voice heard, then what happens to a dream deferred? Motivation starts waning and your throat has gone numb. Would you start to give up and turn around to run? So what is a dream? According to Google, it is a cherished aspiration, ambition, or an ideal. If your aspiration or ambition is so cherished and beloved, shouldn't you try everything that you can in order to put it into the world? Should you obsess over it endlessly in order to make it come true, or simply keep imagining on what could have been? Most would say to take that opportunity and make sure that your dream can come true. After all, as they say, you won't know until you try. But when you think about it, neither option is correct or incorrect. It is valid to let go sometimes, and if you lose motivation, that doesn't mean you've given up. If a dream or ambition just gets held off, sometimes that can be for the best. I'd imagine that many people can't pursue a dream because that isn't what they needed at the time. They might not have been able to have enough skill or weren't able to reach that right mindset. Or maybe they found something better, a new dream. That doesn't mean they forgot about or got rid of their old dream, because that dream brought them to where they are now. That doesn't make either of these experiences less acceptable than the other. So what would happen with a bigger dream that just could not be dropped? Well, I'm going to use a very large dream across the world: equality. Equality is something we constantly struggle with, and it's something we have always struggled with. The dream of equality has never gone away, but it has changed and evolved in order to accommodate everyone. As a minority of any kind, you have the dream to finally be able to live without fear of oppression. You strive to be able to walk into a room and not immediately be categorized and oppressed. You want for people to be able to look at you like the wonderful person you are and not decide that all of a sudden you have little to no rights. And you yearn for the day where you're treated the same as everyone else and that your difference from someone else are celebrated. This is only natural to want because no one should have to feel this way. You might have this strong desire to fight and aren't sure how, or you might be afraid of what will happen when you do. What will happen when you try to show and fight for who you are? It's the sad truth that people can be looked down upon if they aren't similar to someone else. And sometimes when they speak up, they're given harsh, discouraging, and in the worst cases, violent feedback. It's understandable why someone would be scared to even step out of their house. You might have just figured that someone else could handle it, that you didn't have to invest yourself in something you might never get. You might give up, and that might be okay for you. But that just means you're one less person who decides to say or do anything. Progression might get better for a while, but it will most likely get worse after some sense of false security is set, because people stopped fighting. And as a minority, you shouldn't have to fight. You need to, though. Even when you think you can't do anything, you can. Even if you aren't aren't a part of one smaller group of people, the best way to fight is to show others that you see and are fighting with them, that you support them. Showing that you support someone can do so much for a person because that gives a supporting boost to those who are willing or are able to physically fight back. When you think about it, it's as simple as this. When a dream is held off, it has a chance to thrive. But when a dream is forgotten, it begins to die. It's okay if you need to hold off on a dream. Sometimes you find a better one that suits you more, or you need to take a break and grow your strength, motivation, and in some cases, your numbers. It's going to happen as you grow, change, and evolve. But before you completely give up, completely forget about what you might have spent so long trying to pursue, no longer continuing because you've decided that you would make no impact or that your aspiration was useless. Ask this to yourself. Why did you pursue this in the first place?
Thank you, Johanna. Now I'd like to introduce the first of our high school competitors. We'll begin with Eliana Andreen. Eliana is a 10th grade student at Haverty Grace High School, where her favorite subjects are English and music. Her hobbies include playing the piano, hiking, fishing, swimming, paddleboarding, and biking. Her future goal is to become a music therapist with a degree in music therapy and to continue advocating for the disability community.
Our dreams dictate our ambitions in life. Yet, when a dream is deferred, what happens to it? Can it manifest? I believe a deferred dream can manifest into something bigger for later. For example, my dream is to drive a car independently one day. I was born with a condition called quadriplegia cerebral palsy, which affects muscle movement, coordination, and reaction timing in all 4 limbs. However, I've always worked hard to overcome my physical challenges, and I've refused to let my disability hold me back. For example, I learned to coordinate the muscles of my arms and hands to become an accomplished piano player. I even play piano in the Haverty Grace High School Jazz Ensemble. I also learned to coordinate the muscles necessary to ride a bicycle. I had to defer this dream as well. Most children can ride a bicycle without training wheels by the time they're in 1st grade. For me, it took a few extra years, and I even attended a special bike camp to develop those skills. But driving was a dream that I gave up on. When I was younger, I thought, I'll never be able to drive a car. With my reaction time being so poor, there's no way I can safely navigate myself out of dangerous situations on the road. So I carried on with life under the assumption that I would have to rely on ride-sharing apps or carpooling to get around. But now I'm 15, and I see many of my friends and peers taking driver's ed, and well, naturally, as any 15-year-old would, I want to be able to do what my friends are able to do. I was actually referred by my doctors to an adaptive driving specialist for an evaluation. An adaptive driving specialist is someone who modifies cars and works with people with disabilities to help them operate cars safely. I was referred for an evaluation, and we made the appointment several months in advance. Deferring my fate until that day just built up the anticipation even more. So by the time that day arrived, my anticipation was bursting. And it was a good thing that it was bursting, because he gave us the go-ahead for me to take driver's ed. So as of today, I have officially graduated the classroom portion of driver's ed with 96% on my final exam. Now I have to defer my dream further as well. I won't get my license most likely right when I turn 16 in July. I probably won't get my license till I'm 17 or even 18 years old. I also have to get a left foot gas pedal installed in my car because my left side is stronger than my right side. but this will all manifest into my ability to operate the car safely on the road. For me, the manifestation of my dream is about more than just having my license. It's about the freedom and the independence I will have once I'm able to drive on my own. Being able to go places myself where I want to go, as opposed to having to rely on others, is a wildly freeing thing. Freedom itself is a huge parallel between Langston Hughes' story and my own. For Langston Hughes, the freedom he wanted was extrinsic. He wanted his poems to be taken seriously by everyone, and he wanted the freedom to express the struggles of racism and oppression through his poetry. For me, it's an intrinsic freedom of getting behind the wheel. Now, there are parallels, and just as people of color are looked down upon or treated differently by their white counterparts, people with disabilities are often looked down upon or treated differently by our neurotypical counterparts. While I cannot relate to being judged or discriminated against by the color of my skin, I can relate to being judged or treated differently based on my birth circumstances. And it's my dream that one day, all people, regardless of race, ability, or other factors, will all be treated equally. Langston Hughes stated in his poem, What Happens to a Dream Deferred, that dreams deferred crust and sugar over like syrupy sweets. It is my personal belief that deferred dreams are not for good. They are simply in their caterpillar stages, and with some self-growth and development, they will emerge into a beautiful butterfly for you to enjoy.
Thank you, Eliana. Next, I'd like to introduce Kellis Levon Myers. Kellis is a 9th grade student at Edgewood High School, where her favorite subject is government. Her hobbies include sewing, reading, acting, and drawing. In the future, she hopes to travel the world and become a fashion designer.
Langston Hughes once asked, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or does it crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode?" Martin Luther King Jr. once shared that he had a dream. He did not personally defer that dream, but it was the tragic occurrence of his murder and the social climate of the country since his murder that set it astray. Despite its deferment, it did not take on what Langston described. It did not dry up like a raisin in the sun, nor did it fester like a sore or stink like rotten meat or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet. His dream did not sag or explode. It fought on generation through generation in leaders such as Elijah Cummings, former U.S. representative and civil rights activist, Stacey Abrams, politician and voting rights activist, Patrisse Cullors, co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement, and Brian Stevenson, social justice activist and founder of the Equal Justice Initiative. It fought on in countless other leaders that we saw as examples in days past and today, demonstrating the belief in and carrying out the realization of his dream, as evidenced by their protests, petitions, and calls for action. MLK's dream is now a collective dream, shared by people who are woke, not sleep, and determined to end its deferment. And this now collectively shared dream has inspired generations like mine to dream big, dream audaciously, and to live out those dreams to bring about a liberation, justice, and equality, deserving of being realized by all citizens of the world. So what, as Langston Hughes once poetically inquired, happens to a dream deferred? I say it demands to be recognized, because a dream cannot be held down. It fights against its destruction, because a dream unfulfilled may get bruised, but it is never defeated. It will fight alone until it is joined by someone who believes in that dream. someone who will fight against anything that interferes with it, someone who will disregard anyone who opposes that dream because they believe. They believe in all of the possibilities that dream holds. They will not allow for it to dry up under the sun. They will not allow for it to fester and swell like a wound untreated. They will not allow for it to rot and decay. They will not allow for it to crust any road. They will not allow for it to sag and grow old. They will not allow that dream to dim its light. They will push it forward with all of their might until that dream is fulfilled. So when we come across Langston Hughes' question, what happens to a dream deferred? We can now answer. A dream deferred fights until it is accomplished. And even after, it will never die, because a dream will always stay with you to encourage you to fight alongside deferred dreams in the future.
Thank you, Kellis. Our next high school competitor is Desmond McAllister. Desmond McAllister is a talented senior of the International Baccalaureate program at Edgewood High School. In addition to writing and recording music, they enjoy being a leader at Edgewood High School, where they are also an active member of TechBrick's FIRST Robotics program and their school's Astounding Arts program. In the future, they plan to study civil and environmental engineering to help bring clean water and sustainable energy to the world.
Or does it explode? Does it burst forth with a sudden violence and energy, a noise from an internal force? Now that reminds me of something, doesn't it you? Something very, very American. Oh, did you not get it? I'll say it again. Or does it explode? Does it burst forth with a sudden violence and energy, a noise from an internal force? Now that's the last line of Langston Hughes' iconic dream deferred speech, where he questions what happens to a dream deferred. To the end, I've attached the definition of explode from Merriam-Webster. And to me, it reminds me of something. How about this? Are you ready? Blackbirds singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. John Lennon wrote Blackbird, quote, to an American woman experiencing the problems of the American South. But why would a black woman need a song? What problems is she experiencing in the American South, in a country where 14 million people immigrated through Ellis Island for a chance at the American dream? Well, the answer is simple, really. This wasn't her dream. No, she was forced to come here. Her dream wasn't here. America broke her wings and sunk her eyes and gave her a deferred dream. A deferred dream in which we're still living today, that we are constantly being reminded of. What are some of your favorite TV shows and movies? I'm listening. Okay, raise your hand if you thought of 42 or The Help. All right, raise your hand if your movie or TV show is either about or an allegory for racism in America or slavery in America. Now raise your hand if your movie or TV show includes a white savior complex. And if you don't know what that is, Google it later. And lastly, raise your hand if your movie or TV show is about the first Black person to accomplish something specific. Now put your hands down if over 50% of the writing or production was done by Black people. Put your hand down if even at least one person on the writing or production team was a Black person. Wow. I did not expect so many hands to still be up. Why do you think that is? Does the white man just tell our stories better than we do? Are we not capable of telling our own stories? Are we to be constantly reminded about our past or about the accomplishments that we've already made so that maybe we won't have the dare to achieve new accomplishments? I'm sorry, I digress. Let me make this relevant again. Does the white man tell her deferred dream better than she does? Langston Hughes knew what happens to a deferred dream. Yes, his poem was a series of questions and inquiries, but Langston Hughes knew exactly what happens to a deferred dream. He knew the order in which it happens. We're living in a deferred dream right now. We're living throughout the effects of her deferred dream. What is your dream? And how long has it been sitting and festering in the sun? How long have you kept it deferred? Langston Hughes knew exactly what happens to a deferred dream, and I do too, and I'm sure you do. So I would advise you to do something about your dream. Because if you don't, it will explode.
Thank you, Desmond. Our final high school student is Nia Webb. Nia is an 11th grade student at Edgewood High School, where her favorite subject is music because it becomes a way to communicate amongst many without words. Nia enjoys meeting with other students through club activities with the help of virtual learning, of course. In her spare time, she catches up on some of her favorite shows and attempts to study language. Nia hopes to finish high school with more knowledge than she came in with and wants to one day help and inspire those around the world as others have done for her.
What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? Langston Hughes ponders the action of pausing on what you believe in. Deferred is recognized as putting off an action to a later time, a synonym to postpone. Many people may recognize the term deferred as an anticlimactic reaction-inducing word often seen on college applications. Many may see the word deferred in negative connotation. They may associate it with laziness or flaky behavior. And many may see it as another chance. There is not one set way to determine a dream deferred. That being said, what happens to a dream deferred? A dream deferred becomes an atom, located in a void of lost opportunity and chance. That atom floats amongst its counterparts, bumping into businesses, CEO positions, entertainment interests, and enterprise success. The void, but from lost time, insecurities, and financial struggles. That atom becomes something much deeper than a dream. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it sag like a heavy load? The year of 2020 was something drastically different than we thought it would be on the day of December 31st, 2019. 2020 was full of ups, downs, sideways turns, and any other stress-inducing flip you may find on a roller coaster. People had lost a lot. We suffered some of the greatest loss of our lifetime. And now, I'm not here to have a speech about how 2021 is going to be the best year and how we have to look on the positive side, because that's not what I want to talk about. And that's not what we need to hear. If you accomplished nothing the year of 2020, that is okay. Recently, I participated in the HAPS social and emotional health student discussion. We talked about virtual learning and our struggles, and we found out there were other students who were struggling as well. It felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like we weren't alone in our struggles, like there were other people who understood us. And in that moment, we didn't have to pretend or dream to be perfect students. Grades, sports, clubs, they all became irrelevant. Because we were perfect students in the way that we could express our struggles without fear or judgment. Because a dream deferred is not a dream lost. A dream deferred may become a burden, something you don't look forward to doing. I feel like we put too much pressure on the term deferred dreams. We make it seem as if we as people can't have bad days or bad months. We make it seem like it's unbearable for that dream to be lost in that void. Yet in the same sentence, we push our dreams deeper into a trench of self-doubt and pity. And what I want to tell you is, don't listen to other people. Ironic as it is coming from me as a speaker. Stop thinking about deferred dreams and negative connotation. I can't tell you what happens to your deferred dreams because a deferred dream is what you make of it. A deferred dream can become positive. It can. And what I hope you take from this speech is that hard work is what you need. And I hope that you know that, yes, a deferred dream may dry like a raisin in the sun. It may fester like a sore and then run. Yes, it may stink like rotten meat and crust over in a syrupy sweet. Or it can become the reality you make it. Your time, effort, hardships, it can pay off. That dream can become something you're proud of and something you want to share with other people. So what I want you to know and what I want you to think about is look into your own void. Find that one dream. And I feel like you thought about something when I said one dream. Chase after it. See what happens.
Thank you to each of our student participants. It is an honor to be surrounded by so many inspirational young people with amazing dreams. Our future is certainly in good hands. Before we announce the winners of today's competition, we are pleased to present an inspirational musical selection performed by the Morgan State University Choir, directed by Dr. Eric Conway. The selection is titled, "We Are All in the Same Boat Together."
The way this world's been going, I don't think for very long. Everybody's drifting in a different direction, singing their own sweet songs, and we can stand beside each other. There's no time too high. We all came on different ships, but together we'll live or we'll die. 'Cause we're all in the same boat, brother. Ooh, we're all sailing on same rough sea. As long as we pull together, we'll make it back home. loving and sharing, and a lot less living in fear. If we can ride the storm out together, but winds and storms may rise. Tomorrow we'll see that storm break through the
As we prepare to announce the awards for our exceptional students, we are excited to showcase a video about the rich and diverse history of Harford County provided by the Honorable Barry Glassman, County Executive.
Hi, this is Harford County Executive Barry Glassman. This year, for Black History Month, we're telling the story of Gravel Hill and a 30-year struggle for environmental justice, one that took us from here at St. James AME Church all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. It all started in 1989 when a rubble fill was proposed on Gravel Hill Road next to the St. James AME Church. This historic African-American church is in the heart of Gravel Hill, which began as a freedmen's community before the Civil War. The church cemetery dates back to the 1800s and is the final resting place of 3 Black Civil War veterans. A rubble fill in the church's backyard raised alarms because it would have been a dumping site for medical waste and other construction materials close to the historic cemetery. The community worried about the dump and its impact on their properties and their water supply, so they rose up to fight it. They took their case to public hearings, they did research, knocked on doors, and collected money to help pay legal costs. They posted signs to raise awareness. I was fresh out of college when then Pastor Violet Hopkins Tan, who led the effort, recruited me to stand with her. Reverend Tan has been recognized by the NAACP and Maryland environmental groups for her courage and leadership. Even my son Jordan took up the cause. Once elected, one of our first actions as a new council was to pass new standards for the location of rubble fills to protect all of Harford County's communities. But we were taken to court, and at one point, Harford County was ordered to pay $45 million to the landowner. By this time, I was Harford County executive, and I had refused to settle or give up on this case. In 2020, we finally got a Supreme Court victory that brought an end to this case and victory to the community of Gravel Hill. Sadly, many of the folks that fought in this battle over the years have passed, but my hope is that their memories will stand strong and stand in the light that all they did, all their sacrifices were done for their community as they saved the community of Gravel Hill.
At this time, I'd like to recognize the runners-up, who will each receive a $100 scholarship provided by our generous sponsor. This year, we are excited to recognize Ditya Chatwal, grade 6, Patterson Mill Middle School; Cameron Grant, grade 8, Haverty Grace Middle School; Jocelyn Jacobs, grade 7, the Tome School; Angel Addison, grade 10, Edgewood High School; Megan Davis, grade 9, Bel Air High School; and Chloe Gautier, grade 9, Haverty Grace High School. In addition to today's scholarships, the students will receive medals and certificates of recognition from Maryland's United States Senator Ben Cardin. The Haverty Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center is also excited to announce a new scholarship opportunity generously sponsored by Drew and Lisa Fender and the Fender Family Fund. The scholarship will fully fund the tuition costs for 2 students to attend Harford Community College for 2 years, with the goal of earning a 2-year associate's degree or certificate in a trade program. Applicants from minority and underserved communities, including students who self-identify as African American, Native American, or Latinx, are encouraged to apply. The application deadline is April 2nd, 2021, and for details and application information, please visit www.hdgcoloredschool.net and click on Fender Family Fund Scholarship. Thank you so much to our entire community for their unwavering support. And now, we're excited to announce the winners of the 2021 Langston Hughes Youth Oratorical Contest. We will begin with the 3rd place winner in the middle school category, Lillian Moss. Congratulations, Lillian. Next, we will award 2nd place in the middle school category to Kayla Reynolds. Congratulations, Kayla. And the 1st place winner in the middle school category is Johanna Stevens. Congratulations, Johanna, and to all of our middle school finalists. All of our student submissions have been amazing this year, and for the first time ever, we have a 3-way tie for 1st place in the high school category. So I'm excited to announce the 2nd place winner in the high school category is Desmond McAllister. Congratulations, Desmond. And in a 3-way tie for 1st place, I'm excited to announce Eliana Andreen, Kellis Levene Myers, and Nia Webb. Congratulations to you 3. We are continuously inspired by the legacies of those that came before us, and the Haverty Grace Colored School Museum and Cultural Center has just completed the 1st phase of a 5-phase restoration project. Coincidentally, the 1st phase began in the 100-year-old portion of the building that we call the Langston Hughes Room. Our goal is to restore the entire school to its original charm. If you would like to assist us with this historic restoration and preservation project, please visit our website, www.hdgcoloredschool.net, to donate. Thank you. Congratulations again to all of our student participants. We have been thrilled to support these amazing young people who know that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty and power of their dreams. Thanks for joining us, and keep on dreaming.
We'll cry glory.